Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. And today I'm sitting down with my guest, Jami Stigliano, who is the founder and franchisor of DivaDance. So excited to be jumping in, talking a little bit about business, entrepreneurship, franchising, all that fun stuff when it comes to, business and that crazy journey of that many of us are on. So Jami, first of all, I just want to say thank you for taking the time. I'm super excited to dive in here. Let's just start with a little bit of background. If you would give us like the quick take on what DivaDance is for those that haven't heard of it before, and then let's dive into a little bit of kind of like your background. How did you go about starting the company?
That's perfect. So yes, well, thanks for having me on. DivaDance, we are dance choreography classes for adults. So we have reinvented the dance class experience for adults. And I started it as kind of a manicure money business. Back in New York City, when I was a young professional, I went to take a dance class at another studio just for fun, for friendship, as a fitness option. And it was awful. It was super stressful. I walked out of there feeling worse about myself. It was competitive. It was nothing like you should feel when you leave doing something that you love to do. So on the corner of 57th and Broadway in New York City, I decided to teach my own classes. And that's what I started doing for fun. And then about 7 years ago, I was looking to transition out of the career that I had, which was in the music industry. And I looked at this little manicure money business that I had and said, what if I were to really focus on this? What if I were to make this something and give it my best effort? And turns out my best effort, is actually pretty powerful. It really does something. And now we have 47 franchises across the country, and we just launched in Mexico City. So that's the quick version, but it's going pretty good.
Amazing. I absolutely love that. So for kind of your background, getting into this and all that, did you have background in dance like when you were younger and all of that kind of stuff? Or was that kind of your first experience getting into it, was saying, I'm going to take this class, and it wasn't as, the stellar experience you were hoping?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up like many of the young folks do today, where they have their training and they're doing they're taking it very seriously. The majority of my experience in dance when I was a child was creating my own choreography in my room by myself to songs on the radio, and watching MTV, different era back then. And if it was today, it'd be watching YouTube or TikTok videos. That was my equivalent of my dance training then. So only when I was in high school did I learn that, you could be part of a drill team, a dance team. And I was just super enamored with the idea that I could make friends, be part of this great community, and get to dance and perform and do something I didn't realize how much I loved to do it until I got to do it. So that was really the majority of my experience, but very formative. And it also just goes to show that you don't need 25 years of competitive dance training to keep dance in your life and to take it seriously and do something you love.
Oh, that's so cool. So let's go back to kind of starting the business. Decide to take that kind of leap of faith, go all in, put all focus on this. As I kind of just set the stage, we were talking very briefly before we jumped on here that we've had the opportunity to chat with a whole bunch of different business owners out there. Different you can imagine the number of stories that we get to kind of hear from. So I'd like to set the stage for the audience. So generally speaking, is this, one of those things that you went out and kind of founded completely on your own? Did you have any business partners? Is it something that you went out and had to like seek investment for? Kind of what was your journey looking like from that aspect?
Well, I knew I wanted to bring this to other cities because people were coming to New York City to do private parties, and they're saying, "Oh, we should have this in Kansas City. We should have this in Miami." And I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm never going to do that." But when I took the moment, I'm like, "Wait a minute, I could bring this to other cities. How am I going to do that?" So I started looking at all the ways you can open a bunch of corporate locations, and then I discovered franchising, which you've heard about franchising, but only until you're in it are you like, "Oh, this is like a really great business model. And franchising is more accessible to young entrepreneurs or startup entrepreneurs than people realize. It is an investment of time and capital, but it's not just for the McDonald's of the world. Even smaller brands or more entry level, if you will, entrepreneurs do have access to franchising. So I was able, through an amazing network through my family, found a great mentor who helped me at a very reasonable cost do my initial paperwork, do my initial business planning. He gave me a very extended payment plan runway with him because of his relationship with my family, and just he loved the DivaDance mission. He was super, when I first met him, he was like, I just love what you're doing here, and he got it, he understood it. So so that was really how I really started with $10,000 in my business bank account, and we went through that quick, as you do. And I've never taken any outside investors since then. I mean, we have really cash financed the business. We've taken on a little bit of debt here and there as needed to get through COVID, or different kind of growth opportunities that we've done. But yeah, we've really bootstrapped it. And in franchising, you have corporate owned units, so company owned units. Those have helped kind of fund the franchise as well.
Oh, amazing. So when you, I guess that prompts two questions that I'm curious on. The first one being, how long, so started it before kind of really getting to the franchising piece and selling that first franchise location. How long was it from kind of start of the business to getting that first franchise location out?
Yeah, that's a good question. So really about a year later, I mean, really a year later, I couldn't believe it. When you award your first franchise, it's a big deal. I'll never forget when I heard the yes on the other end of the phone. And she said, yeah, I want to be number one. I want to be the first one. So really about a year. But what I did in that year, other than getting my documents together, was I started a new unit. I started it from scratch because, I had my kind of manicure money business, my hobby business, that I hadn't documented. I didn't have manuals. I hadn't built, standard operating procedures. So we started a new franchise in a totally different city from scratch to be able to document that process, see what works, and start to build those support tools that we knew we would need for an actual franchisee. So it was about a full year later, and we're still iterating, even at almost 50, so the operations manual I had then, she doesn't look the same now. The whole process is iterative. So.
Oh man, I love that so much. And you mentioned it earlier on how accessible franchises are for especially the newer entrepreneurs out there. And it's something I wholeheartedly agree in. When you can buy into a business that already has some systems and some proof of concept and things like that, and you're not having to start from zero.
Oh.
Such an amazing thing, especially if you're learning on this journey of entrepreneurship. So kind of on that track and just talking about like the franchise overall, somebody comes in, they want to buy a franchise from you. Kind of what's the support? What do they get with the franchise that they
Yeah.
wouldn't get by just starting their own dance business?
I love when people ask, what do I get? And because first of all, I am giving you systems that I've tested, that I've refined. I'm giving you access to use a brand that I've invested in and I've built. So, I've spent millions of dollars to create what we have, and to test it and to improve it and to iterate on it. And so for your franchise fee, you're getting access to that in addition to your protected territory for the term of our agreement, which is 5 years. So, you're getting that protected territory where you can operate in. And one unique thing, Tanner, about our business model is that I don't require my franchisees have their own exclusive brick and mortar studio space. They can run their business out of existing studios. So they can find a group fitness space. They can find a dance studio that has extra hours that they're not using and rent from those businesses. So that's something that's very unique to our business. So you can really maximize your territory instead of just being in one location on one corner of your territory. So the other things they're going to get from us, we have an extensive new owner education journey. It's really special. Our values at our company are inspiring confidence and building community, with the mission of changing lives in that process. So our new owner journey is all in the spirit of helping them feel confident in the business, helping them feel confident in themselves. The definition of confidence is the belief that you're capable. And so we really want to help our new franchise owners feel capable of running payroll, of hiring great people, of creating a compelling class schedule, of doing the field marketing out in their area. So all those things, that they come in with varying degrees of experience in. So we really, really pride ourselves in that. And the second piece, obviously, community. We want our new owners to feel integrated into our owner ecosystem and into our community, because it's not real community if you don't feel a sense of belonging. So that's a huge component of it as well. We have something here in Austin at our headquarters called Confidence Camp, where our new owners come with other new owners and they get to do training hands-on. We also have a virtual component where they're doing webinars and they're doing a cohorted kind of mindset series where they're working through things. So it's a really, I think that our new owner training and launch journey is really special, and I'm really proud of it because I definitely measure the success of that program is directly reflected by the owner's confidence as they go into their business.
Mm, that is really cool. I also really enjoy there's not a need necessarily for kind of your own brick and mortar. That, talking about making it accessible, that's one of the biggest line items for most, new franchise owners or business owners in general is the rent to have
Absolutely.
space.
Well, the build out, and you know what's too, sometimes it takes a long time to build out. You get
Yeah.
getting permits and things of that nature, and so we really empower our new owners to be able to get up and operating from the time they sign their franchise agreement to their first class. 4 months, 4 to 5 months is really so they can go through that training journey and they can go through that launch journey, but they don't have to wait that extra 9 months to do their build out.
Oh, that's so cool. So I think you mentioned earlier you've got 47 locations now. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yep, including one
Uh,
in Mexico City now.
That's amazing. How many corporate owned versus franchise? Is that 47 just franchisees? Is that,
I have
partially
four.
franchise? Okay.
I have four corporate owned, but looking to have fewer soon. We're actually helping some of our existing managers of my company owned units become owners. So by getting to manage a corporate owned unit for us, we've created a pathway to ownership for them as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So for the franchise itself, running the franchise, being able to kind of find and sell franchises and do all the support work that comes along with it. How many team members are you up to now?
So we have 13 full-time folks, including two of those that are full-time are my company-owned unit managers. I still think we need more people, even though sometimes, I'm like, man, we got a lot of people. But definitely, we have a really strong support system. I hired 7 last year in 2023, knowing that we would have this kind of growth, because it's always better to, hire before you need people, honestly, because it takes time for people to get assimilated and confident in their roles. So, but yeah, I mean, I have a few more people that I'd like to add to our team, but I feel pretty confident with the level of support we're able to offer our owners.
Amazing. So what does your role look like? Especially as you continue to grow, you've got, 13, 14 team members now. What does your role look like? And what hats do you still wear in the business as you continue on your growth trajectory?
Sure. If you'd asked me that like 3 years ago, I would say, well, everything. I do everything. I don't. I actually, well, first of all, when you're a founder and you're the CEO, you're really in the visionary seat. Many people listening, you may be familiar with something called the Entrepreneur Operating System (EOS), and that's all about your visionary, and then you have your integrator. We don't follow EOS like to exact science, but I definitely am working towards being a little bit more on that visionary seat. So, in that role in a franchise, my role is to protect and grow the brand. I have to protect the brand, and work with my team to do that and grow. I don't have a full-time franchise development team, so I really lead that effort right now, which I actually love doing. I love helping women start their own business. It's so fun. And so that's a big piece of it. And then also really, I'm in the people business of my people under this roof. These are my people. And so helping create, blocking and tackling for them, like helping them, be able to do what they need to do, setting the pace. I'm absolutely setting the pace. I'm the big relationship holder. So, right now we're in the middle of a big technology migration. I'm really the lead. I'm not in the weeds on that, but I'm at the top where I'm working, to keep the heat on that technology partner of what they promised us this would look like. And it's going very well. But that's really what I see, as my role. And I'm not afraid to get in the weeds on certain things, but my team doesn't want me down there. Sometimes they're like, just go away. So I really, really try to embolden my team to own their lane, and then I'll drive in the lane if they need me. But for the most part, I do really try to stay out.
Mm. Well, it's a really good reminder, especially when you started with. If you asked me that a couple years ago, it'd be very different. As let that serve as a reminder for those that are watching that it is possible to get to the point where you're not in every single seat in on the bus and
Yes,
being able to get to that
definitely.
point. So
I
it's
love
really
it.
cool to
I
see that.
love it. They say that you should try to, aim for you to be irrelevant. That's absolutely my goal. Like I love when my team they're more of the knowledge holder or the expert, if you will, than I am. I think it's great.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the business overall, especially for those that are watching, if they're interested in this, right? We've got kind of two different camps. You got those that may want to participate and actually, come and take some dance classes and things like that. And then the other side is, I want to start a business or I want to get into this business and maybe buy a franchise. Um, when you look at kind of those two groups, I always like to ask the general question, like who primarily does your business serve? In other words, if I'm in the audience, I'm watching this later on, how do I know that I'm a really good fit for either of those two camps?
Well, number one, values alignment. Again, we're all about inspiring confidence and building community. We just happen to do that through really fun dance classes that are for everyone and accessible and inclusive. And we don't level the classes so that we can create that safety there. But values alignment is what I look for in anybody. So I don't want you to come to our classes if you're not about confidence and community. And I certainly don't want you to invest in a franchise if you're not about inspiring confidence and building community. So, and that's really just a part of the fabric of who we are. It's a part of the way our class experience is designed. It's the way our owner journey is designed. So that's super important to me. But it's more specifically on the franchise owner side, the folks that come to us looking to be part of this from a franchisee perspective, they're typically looking to create more freedom and flexibility for themselves and more financial abundance, which is just like you would with any business opportunity. That's not exclusive to DivaDance. The third fun thing about it is that what we do and why we do it happens to really resonate with them. Either they were a dancer, they were in cheer, or they were part of any kind of like community of folks that they feel like they want to do something where they're helping people. I hear this a ton, Tanner. Like people want purpose in what they do every day. They got to have it. It's not even just like, oh, I'd like to do something that fills me up. It's a must. And I'm seeing that a lot with folks who decide to invest in a DivaDance franchise. Even if they, definitely there's a lot of financial opportunity in business ownership, but even if like they have to take a step back financially to become a business owner at first, that freedom and that direct line to purpose, it's like almost a non-negotiable with people nowadays from every conversation I'm having.
Mm. It's a really good point, and I would 100% agree with it. What have you learned in marketing? Especially on the franchise side, right? Being able to find folks that would be interested in buying into a franchise and kind of going down that path. What have you found maybe both ends of the spectrum? What have you found that's worked really well, and then like what are
Yeah.
some lessons you're like that wasn't for
Yeah.
us?
Totally. Well, number one, the majority of my franchisees, we source my two biggest sources. One, Google search. People are looking for something like this. Typically, they want to take a class like this. They see that it doesn't exist in their area and they request franchising information. That is very common. Extremely common. We're like, man, I was looking for a class to take, and then I found your website because our SEO is awesome. We've done a really good job of prioritizing that within our business. And I saw that you didn't have classes near me, and I thought, why shouldn't I start one of these franchises? So that's a huge amount, a huge bulk of the folks who have started a franchise with us. The second are from within our own community. So folks who are an active member of an existing DivaDance community, then they relocate or they have a vision of some other city that they would like to spend more time in, or they have family there, or whatever the case may be. And they see that, right now is a really exciting time to be part of our company because we do have a big wide open, even though we've grown a ton and, almost 50 locations, that's we still have a big wide open map. We have full states that have no DivaDance logos, stickers on the map. And so we're finding people from within our community that they're seeing their existing franchise owner. We really try to tell the story of the owners so that, folks are like, wow, that's something I could do. Or they ascend from being an instructor. And then they're like,
Mm.
wow, I want to be a franchise owner. Or they are part of the staff in some way. Maybe they're part of their membership sales team or a client. So those are really my two biggest sources. So in terms of what I've learned not to do is we did try to spend some money on ads. Every lead I got was just, they weren't right. They didn't have it. They weren't right for us. And I'm not opposed to running ads again. Maybe we just, obviously with ads and paid social, there's targeting things and algorithms and all that stuff. But I feel so confident in the type of folks that find us on their own organically and folks from within our community that's really where we're going to double down.
Mm. Right there is just a massive lesson for those that are, listening to this and understanding like what are the marketing channels that have worked and being able to double down on those versus just this, let's go out and try and do everything. Like sometimes that's all you need in order to really grow is find the ones that really bring in the types of people that you want to do business
Yes.
with, and then just really double down on that.
Well, and
Uh,
you have to realize that you may not have maxed it out. You know, when I think of even internally with our internal community, I mean, yes, we've gotten a lot of owners now, but we haven't even scratched the surface at telling that story to our existing folks in our existing database. So that's a huge opportunity for us.
have you have any of the franchisees gone on and actually, purchased multiple locations, things like that? Is
Yes.
how widespread is that? Or is it a lot, single ownerships, or is there a lot of kind of consolidation and having, one owner that has, multiple territories?
Most of my owners just have one because the bulk of my growth has happened in the last 3 years. So I definitely multi-unit ownership. If you were to interview them, they would say that's absolutely in their goals. That they definitely want to be a multi-unit owner. I do have about 3 or 4 out of our owners that do own multiple units. It's definitely something that everybody aspires to do. They like that you already know how to run the business. So like, why not bring this to another community? They see the opportunity, and they see, yeah, that it's a great way for them to go deeper into something that they love to do, and have potentially, obviously even more upside.
Amazing. So let's cast vision for a moment. Next 3 to 5 years, where do you see things going? Where do you see your role in the next three to
Yeah.
five years, and what does this business look like in that future time?
I can't wait for us to talk again in a few years, Tanner. We'll have to put that on our calendar to regroup. But I mean, the next 3 years are exciting, but hugely important. They really are because we have number one, we have to make sure our franchisees, no matter how many there are of them, that they are profitable in their business. Number one. That's critical. Any franchisor, you have to make sure you will not grow if you have franchisees that don't make money. You just won't, because you won't have anyone to validate. You won't have people that want multiple units. You won't have people, and you want to. That's the reason I want to do this too. I want them to make money. I want them to be happy. So luckily, we do have gals that are, happy with how their businesses are performing financially. But obviously, that has to stay at the top of the list. And so that means I also need the right owners. So I'm pretty confident we could, quadruple in size in the next 3 years. But I won't do that if it means we don't bring in the right owners and we don't scale in a way that helps the owners succeed. So I'm confident we can do both. I'm confident that we can bring in great owners, they can have success, and we can have exponential growth, not just in the US, but especially in Latin America, where we got I wouldn't say foothold, we got a toehold. We just started, we have a toenail hold, like right in that market, that we're just starting. So 3 years, if my map is not a lot fuller, with stickers, we have a map of all of our locations, then something has gone wildly wrong. But also I want to make sure that our owners are really, really successful and that they absolutely love their business.
Mm. That's probably the common theme that I've heard from every successful franchisor that I've ever spoken to is the genuine care about the franchisees and their success as
Definitely.
well. So it's so cool to hear that. Well, Jimmy, I know we've already like blown through some time here. I could totally sit here for like another hour and chat with you, but I do want to be respectful of everyone else's time. And I've got a few rapid fire questions I'd love to kind of throw at you, get some wisdom nuggets for the audience.
Let's do it.
But when you look at kind of your journey so far, what would you say is kind of your key to success?
I mean, I have this reminder on my desk every day. It's just keep going. I just keep going. I mean, you got to stay consistent. Consistency is my number one thing. You can sometimes run faster, sometimes you can jog, you can even walk, and you can walk slow, but you just cannot stop.
Mm, that's good. How about advice? If you could just leave one piece of advice today for other entrepreneurs out there, what piece of advice would you want to give them?
I mean, progress, not perfection. I did not invent that phrase by any means, but it's really true. I mean, everything is iterative. Everything can always be improved. Just go, just do something, do anything, and you can always make it better. So just know that you don't have to have like the perfect version of your marketing plan or the perfect go to market, strategy. Like just go, and then you'll learn as you go. You'll learn way more from real world application than you would being predictive or having hypothesis. Like just test it, just go.
Amazing. How about book recommendations? And it can be audiobook, it can be podcast or things like that if you're not a big reader, but anything that you've read currently or are currently reading that you would recommend to the audience.
Well, there's a book if you're looking to get into franchising that I absolutely love by an author named Scott Greenberg, and it's called The Wealthy Franchisee. And, just spoiler alert, it's not just about financial wealth. It's about how to run a successful franchise, not as a franchisor, but as a franchisee that will create financial abundance, whatever that means for you, freedom and flexibility of your time, and a values impact. And it's an incredibly tactical book. So it's not just in theory, it's really telling you some specific things you should do within your business. And that's Scott Greenberg, The Wealthy Franchisee, a must read for anyone in the franchising business.
Amazing. I love that recommendation. I think it's new to the list as well, so I got to add it on mine.
And
It's
he's
always fun.
awesome. He just actually put out another book too called Stop the Shift Show. I actually have it on the table behind me, so I haven't read it. It's on my stack back there. But it's about shift workers and how you can create great culture that keeps these folks engaged and reduce your turnover.
Ooh, very cool. I'll have to put that one on my list too.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more rapid fire question. And this one's just kind of fun. If you could choose just one area in your business and you could take a little bit of magic dust and sprinkle it all over that one spot, and that's the key. You only get to choose one spot in the business.
Mm.
Can sprinkle some magic dust. You wake up tomorrow, it's like 10 times better than it is today. Where would you choose to put that magic dust?
Probably technology stack. There's no perfect there's no perfect technology out there that is a third party. But obviously it takes a lot of capital to build your own technology and maintenance. And I'm not in the technology business. But if I had magic dust, I would build like the most perfect all-in-one amazing thing that helps my franchisees operate their business successfully. Because we have a pretty good tech stack, but we're using obviously other third-party platforms to create that stack. So I would love some magic dust for that.
I'd love to use that same magic dust on the same area. That would be
Right.
fantastic. So, for those that are watching that want more information, that want to find a location that's near them, if they want to know more information on, the franchise overall, if they just want to connect with you and just kind of follow the work that you're doing, that sort of thing, where can we advise them to go for more information?
Yeah, I love helping folks and coaching them for sure. So you can go to my LinkedIn and feel free to message me. Make sure you tell me that you saw this interview with Tanner, so that I know you're a legit listener. That'd be awesome on LinkedIn. But for DivaDance, we're divadancecompany.com, or you can just Google DivaDance, all one word. We're one word like Beyonce or Madonna or Rihanna. It's one word. And, if we've done our jobs right in SEO, which I know we have, we'll absolutely rank at the very top of that list when you search for us.
Beautiful. For those that are watching, I will put this in the video description in the show notes and everything below. So make sure you go grab the links, click on everything. Yes, please go to LinkedIn, send a direct message, say, hey, saw you on the business spotlight. Great conversation. Just wanted to connect. It's one of my favorite things when it comes to the spotlight series is actually connecting
Yeah,
entrepreneurs. So
love to
let's
help
take a moment
people.
to do that. So to wrap up, I always like to end on one final question, which is simply, what is most inspiring to you today?
Mm. What's most inspiring to me are our client stories, the stories of the DivaDance community. And I never get tired of it. I never get tired of hearing about how DivaDance changed their life, how it helped them through their mental health, or it improved their physical health, or it helped them find community, or my business owners being able to. I had an owner the other day said that she bought a new car in cash. And certainly that's not just related to her DivaDance business, but her own good spending and saving habits. But just like, I love it. I love those stories of transformation and impact absolutely inspire me every day.
Oh man, I love that so much. Jamie, I want to say thank you again. This has been an absolute pleasure. As I said before, I know I could just sit here and ask you question after question, and just dive into this stuff. But I want to say thank you for taking the time and sharing a bit of your story today.
Thank you.